Greetings, I'm Carlton Kuhn, and I've been asked to lead the international ministry of sages for the United Pentecostal Church, and you have been asked to lead a sages ministry there in your local church. Or it may well be that the sages ministry does not now exist or is not even envisioned, but you have a vision for developing such a ministry. This series of training videos, which will include a number of us, including our General Superintendent, David Bernard, are focused on helping you to be effective locally. Now, this is global ministry. This is North American ministry. We want to think in that framework, but we have to act local. Now, let me just kind of jump in here on some things that may help you a little bit. First thing is that your ministry does not have to use the name Sages. It can be used, and there is gear that is built around the Sages name that you may want to take advantage of. But other names like Prime Timers or Oasis, which stands for Older Adult Saints in Service, have been used in various churches. Come up with your own name. And to get interest, one of the things you might do is have a contest with those of the sage age voting on the name, or maybe just have a group of 5 people, including yourself and the pastor, pick one of those names. And that leads me to what is something of a leadership hint. Use every opportunity to put the sages concept in front of people. A contest like what I just described, where people put various names in, and then the people who are part of the Sages group make the decision. That gets buy-in, that gets an awareness. And then when it's presented to the group or when it's presented to the church, there is an awareness that's already been elevated. People are always more up on what they are in on. Never forget it. Okay, the second thing that kind of clears the air is while most leaders of sages are going to be people who are sages themselves, they're 55 plus, this is not something that is absolutely essential. But if you're younger, listen to me, you need to spend time reading, listening, and learning about people who are 55 plus. Do not assume. It may even be worthwhile to take an introductory course in gerontology at a local college or university, because the challenges of those who are more, shall we say, mature are different, and you need to know what those challenges are. And you also need to be aware that what those who are 55 plus offer is something different, but what they offer is no less important than what someone who is 30 is able to offer to the body of Christ. And then the last thing that you will hear over and over again, because this is the cardinal mistake in most ministries to those who are of this age. Those who are of the sage age want to do something meaningful for God. They're not interested in busy work. And you're going to hear it over and over again, because if you don't hear this and take it to heart, you're going to cripple this ministry before it gets very far off the ground. Okay, so with those 2 caveats, you lead a sage age group. Congratulations. Welcome to the team. I hope you've joined our Facebook group. The group that you have been asked to lead or to influence has potential beyond any of our imagination. The sky is the limit. Hopefully, you don't come into this needing to be sold on the significance of this group to do ministry. But for any who do not see the potential or the capability in what sages bring to the table, let me just kind of give you some things that we have that other folks don't have. Number one, we have experience. No, and I mean no 25-year-old has the experience of someone who is 70. And experience is an incredible teacher. Those of the sage age know things that younger people don't. Experience helps. Experience is wisdom lived out. Second thing that we have is an abundance of stories. Every born-again sage has a story of salvation. And those stories in themselves are amazing. But they also have stories of deliverance, of God's protection. They have stories about life itself. And every one of those stories is a parable that presents some measure of truth. And what's interesting is the arriving generations learn from stories, as opposed to the way I've often preached, which is Roman numeral 1, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Inside that, they learn from stories and parables, application of those stories. Third thing that we have that is a huge benefit, we've lived long enough to make a ton of mistakes. And one of the things that I've encouraged sages to do, and I want you to encourage your group to do as well, is to be transparent, to be real about both victory and defeat, about success and those moments when they were not successful. Because we learn from mistakes, and allowing others to learn from the dumb things I have done is one of the greatest resources I can provide to those who are coming behind me. We have made a lot of mistakes. And one of the things about us is that when you have this much silver in your hair, is that you reach a point where you're old enough and have become comfortable enough in your own skin to talk about your mistakes, laughing at your own ignorance and often telling the story with humor. We have lots of mistakes to talk about. The fourth thing is this group, who you're leading, brings to the table stability and commitment. Many of these people have served God for decades. You can count on them. If you'll do a survey of your midweek service, a significant percentage of that audience is going to be over 55. And with this group, for the large part, if they say they're going to do, they do. You can count on them. And then finally, your sages have a lot of life ahead of them. Statistically, those who are 55, 60, 65 have many years ahead, as much as a third of their life. And so, contrary to our retirement-minded society that says this is the time to just sit down in the beanbag or just relax and take a year-long trip around the world about 20 times, I think we need to ask the question, is it pleasing to God for us to waste 15, 20, 25, 30 years of life? There's a lot of life still left in that 75-year-old who is pretty healthy. Now, I reiterate, those of the sage age, they want to do something for Jesus. They've worked for him. Many of them have served him so very faithfully. And retirement, as fishing or golf or sitting in an easy chair, has not really worked well for anybody. There are very few over 55 who embrace that as an idea of what they want to do for the next several decades. So please hear me. Please, please erase from your mind the idea that sages, or whatever you call your group, is a group of old folks tottering in each week to work on putting together a 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. No. For you to be effective, and we want you to be, you want to be, your pastor wants you to be, for you to be effective, you've got to lead sages in finding and doing things that matter. And you're going to discover that there is a world of opportunities for this group to serve. And of course, your group may already be doing meaningful things. And if so, I'd like for you to share them to me. My email address, sagesdirector@upci.org. It'll be in the show notes. Or you can put it in the UPCI Sages Facebook group, and pictures always help. And the reason I ask for that is because your idea and what you're doing may well prompt another leader of a group in another city to do something quite similar. UPCI Sages. My introduction in conversing about it with the general board was this: whether internationally or locally, This is ministry by those over 55 years of age, not to those over 55 years of age. Yeah, there are going to be events where sages are served, and we're going to do cruises, and there'll be a tour of Israel eventually. But from the outset, in your mind and in your local church ministry, focus on ministry by sages. Christ left us a ministry of reconciliation, and that job description has no age limit. To put it succinctly, sages is ministry by those 55 and up with a goal of evangelism and disciple making. And the training videos that we provide are going to include so much that will help. They're also going to include an assignment, almost everyone. First assignment is I want you to develop a list of those 55 plus who are in your church or who are closely connected with your church. Now, my definition of closely connected is that this is a person whose funeral would be preached by your pastor. And this group, those who are not serving God just now, but closely connected, they are the best prospects to become involved and engaged with your group early on. Okay? Please get this work done. It'll help us as we build towards something for the future. See you in a future video.